First of all, Greg, can we get your thoughts on the night as well? And everything sort of comes back to Julian. Have you had a chance to talk with him? What's his return training timeline?
Is that two questions or just Julian? Thoughts on the night and also Julian? Okay. My thoughts on the night were we came out and we looked at a 3-5-2. A little bit of that was the product of getting different players in at different times in preseason and guys that haven't had many minutes under their belt. Taking an early opportunity to look at Dayon and Javi together, just some different things that we wanted to look at. Not having Jules was a chance just to see what Danny would look like on the wing back side, just in case we need something sooner rather than later to help cover us. A lot of reasons just to look at it. We weren't as comfortable in it, clearly. We were a bit disjointed, and it wasn't completely surprising. So second half, we had always planned to go back into a 4-3-3, which is our traditional shape. Guys looked a lot more comfortable. Things just flowed a lot better, and I felt like we were more into kind of what we're used to being in, and we were reading situations better. We understood our solutions. All those kinds of things were better. So. But that's what, ultimately for me, that's what preseason is about. That and getting guys as many minutes as possible to start building their fitness and getting their legs under them. So from that perspective, we got out of it healthy, and all of those things are positive. So from that side of things, I'm good. Regarding Julian, yeah, Jules is still what I would say a bit in limbo. The situation is we haven't gotten official documentation, and we haven't had the official ruling of other. There's parts of this discussion that still need to be dealt with, and we don't have full clarity on all of those things. And so right now we're still in a bit of a wait and see, as Jules is as well. So we'll see how that continues to play out over the next couple days. Yeah, that's where we are with him.
What exactly is the final, what you're waiting for now? We thought FIFA had already ruled that he couldn't go or whatever, and is there something that still has to come through?
Yeah, there still has to be some official documentation that releases the player. He comes back to us, or otherwise we need some official documentation that there's clearance to put him back on the field and to let him play again, and all of those things have to come through. So there's still some things we're waiting on for that to happen.
As follow to that, and this maybe is more of a question for Barcelona, but is there an appeals process with any of this?
I don't believe that there is that I'm aware of. You could pose that to them, but I don't think there's a appeals process. Once there's been some sort of official position, I don't know that it necessarily changes. I haven't seen it change in the past.
Okay. You were trying a few different things. It's early in preseason. Did you learn anything, or is it really just part of we're going to do different things and we'll see how they progress? Such as a three-man back line, such as two forwards up front.
Well, what we learned is if we're ever going to use something with a 3-5-2 or some kind of a three-man back line, and that was something that we need to spend more time with. It's not something we're comfortable in rolling out and right away in a game that would be highly competitive. It's something last year, once we got into a rhythm and we were going, we used it periodically in different parts of games and things like that. But it's early in preseason. We haven't spent a lot of time in it, but we've also, through parts of preseason, we haven't really had any wingers here. So it's something that we've touched upon, but not spent a lot of time on. So did I learn anything? Nothing that totally surprised me. I told the guys that just work through the first half. We want to see how this goes. We touched upon, like I said, some defensive things and some attacking things, and like I said yesterday before the game, we always knew at halftime there was going to be a rotation and back into a 4-3-3. Right, bring Douglas back on, who really is at a position where he needed to get 45 minutes tonight. So we wanted to do that, and I wanted to get Dayon and Javi a start, and I didn't want to push Javi for 90. So there's a lot of reasons why I chose to do it that way. So.
Okay. And then I wanted to ask you about two players. One is Brugman. It's early in preseason, so it's hard to read too much into what we're seeing. Brugman seemed to stay at home a little bit more than we saw him doing last year, and I'm wondering if that's part of being a number 6, and if there's been talk about that, or is that just something that maybe I saw tonight and it doesn't mean anything?
No, I think he works off of what the game is giving him. Sometimes last year when we saw him really make runs forward, his opposition was marking him, And so instead of just sitting in a position, he would take the guy who was marking him, take him high, right? Sometimes then your attacking midfielder who's marking you has to make a decision how deep they're going to go, and he was able to get himself unmarked or open. So I think he's reading into what's happening on the field, what our needs are, and how teams are defending.
And then just your thoughts on Douglas and what you saw in him. I thought he did some nice things tonight.
Yeah.
I'm wondering where he is in terms of a mindset, and now that he's back here, and
Yeah.
in terms of being a Galaxy guy, and then in terms of playing off of that, in terms of bringing wingers in, what kind of timeline do you think you're looking at to bring some guys in who can get there so you can acclimate them for the regular season?
No, I mean, as it relates to Douglas, I thought he was impactful tonight. You know, he looked very dangerous on 3 or 4 occasions, you know, where he got inside, he was able to whip balls in, a couple that were really close, a couple deflected, looked close, you know, got to the end line a couple times. Obviously, he's disappointed. I'm sure he doesn't finish off the PK, but that's, you know, we live with that right now. But I thought he was impactful. Again, the other day we played a scrimmage, and he was working extremely hard in that game, and I thought he put in a good shift in the 45 he had today, which is what we want him to do. His mindset's been great since he's been back and been here and training. He's done everything that we need him to do. His expectation is to be here and to help this team be successful this year, and every day that he's been out of training so far, he's shown nothing but that. And tonight I thought he did the same thing when he went on the field, and he shows that he can also impact and change a game with his abilities. So it's nice. It's nice to see that. We want to just keep building upon those moments with him, keep getting him fit, and keep integrating him into the group.
In terms of bringing wingers?
Yeah, bringing in wingers, you'll probably start to see some movement within the group here in the next week to a couple weeks. Hopefully we'll have some pieces that we're starting to add, you know, throughout the squad.
Hi, Greg. Thank you for your time.
Yep.
I just want to talk a little bit about Memo Rodriguez. We saw him play out wide.
Yeah.
He's the one that got the assist. Do you see him as a player out wide, or is he kind of like a utility player, kind of someone you can put in to fix some holes in certain parts of the roster?
I thought he was excellent. I thought he shows why he can fit into our team. I do think he has flexibility. He's somebody who can invert off of a wing. So today we used him as an inverted winger, and he was working his way inside a fair amount. I also like him inside as just one of our 3 central midfielders, where I think he can be effective. I don't see him as a winger who's on the sidelines and trying to take people on one-on-one and getting to the end line and all that stuff. But I think he when he comes inside and works with the rest of the group, he combines really nicely. And again, I think you saw why we went and got him and felt like he could be effective inside of our team. I think our style of play really suits him, and I think he really fits into, you know, the puzzle of what we're putting together. So.
Yeah, also want to talk on Efrain Alvarez. I know last year, past couple of seasons, he's kind of been played out wide. I think this game he was very central. Is that the primary position where you want to play him now? Or is it, you know, out wide still an option?
Well, I see Efra is kind of similar to Memo and the opposite side, left-footed, you know. I think Efra can invert a bit off of the right wing and come inside to overload. I think he can play at times inside. You know, whenever you're inside, it comes down to the defensive work at times. And so I think he's suitable in either position. You know, he has attacking midfielder type of qualities, whether you are coming off of a sideline and coming into the middle, or whether you're just starting in the middle. So I think both of those are possible with him.
Yeah, and I know you guys have just, you know, played 3 preseason games, but have you seen like any major improvements or somebody that's really stood out in these 3 games?
I think everybody's making progress. You know, I think Jalen has had a great preseason, just between his national team call-ups and the 2 games he played with the national team tonight. I think he's showing his maturity and quality. You know, he'll continue to get comfortable with more repetitions, but I think he's proving that he's a young man that's ready for this level, and I thought he's done well. But I think everybody is making progress. Everybody is looking like, you know, they're at about that 5th week of preseason, and their legs are getting under them. They're starting to get connected as a group, and things are starting to come around.
We're going to take a question from Zoom. We'll go with Tom Bogert. Tom, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Thanks for taking the time.
Pronto.
Sorry to bring it back to Jules, but you kind of talked about that there's been that he goes to Barcelona, or kind of what does that mean?
Well, I think, again, I'm not going to get too deep in it because it's not really in my position to keep getting deeper. But we just need clarification on his release. Is he coming back to the club? Or is there a different solution that's inside of this? And so we need clarification both from FIFA, from Barcelona, from everything as to where this thing is finally and where Julian is in this process. So hopefully we'll have that in the next couple days, and we need an official kind of ruling on those types of things.
And then just one more on that front, like, I guess from like a human sense, what is it like for you with him, your relationship, to watch a kid have this kind of dream move to Barcelona, the influx, and you know, like what has your conversations been with Julian over the past few days, and you know, as it continues?
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster for him, no doubt. You know, starting from when just the conversations started to happen, which were rather late in the window. Everything started to move pretty quickly. All of these deals and negotiations, all of them have different faces along the way, and so you know, Jules was anxious. He was obviously emotional with the potential and dream of going to Barcelona, then having it what appeared to be done and everything there, which is then life hits you in the face a little bit because then you realize all the things you have to take care of to move to another country, to join, like all of those things start to come across, and you could see him then going through a little bit of the stress of anything from houses to dogs to family members to all these kinds of things start to run through your head once you feel like you've made the move is going to happen. To then go all the way to the other side to find out that it could not happen is just, I mean, what a roller coaster. But he's managed it well. He's gotten to a spot, because this has now been several days where, you know, where he's just, whatever happens, and it's for the best, and I'm ready to play wherever I need to play, and just trying to find peace inside of all of that, because you can't ride that roller coaster forever. So he's just trying to find some peace and move forward.
We'll take a last one with Andy Dioza from Yahoo. Andy, go ahead.
Thanks, Vicky. Hey, Greg. Just in terms of, I know you said no documentation, just in terms of clarity, the issue there was just timing? Was that what was reported, but was that, are you guys clear on what the issue was for that disconnect, or was it the actual deadline that didn't get hit?
Yeah, that's my understanding. You know, I don't know all the ins and outs of the process, but I know that the documentation has to be inputted into computer system, and it has to be done by a certain time. And my understanding, and that's done by the receiving team, which would be in Barcelona in this sense. And my understanding was that there was some computer issue or error in the process, which then led to the final documentation being approximately 18 seconds late. That's what I'm hearing, and so that's why I went to FIFA for some kind of a ruling on the whole process and whether it should be allowed or not allowed. And I mean, that's to the extent of what I've been able to follow through this. That's about what I know, and I'm not exactly on the front line of that side of things. I'm almost as reactive as Jules is in this situation in terms of where everything is going to land out.
Greg, in terms of just preparation, obviously that's one headache and one hardship, but you know, I saw a video of a little bit of a protest outside the stadium. The fan base kind of made it clear what their position is this preseason and going into the season. Just for you personally, how difficult is that? I mean, I know it may be a little unfair to ask you these questions, but you are the one that has answered and that's talking. So just how do you approach that, knowing that the season's coming up and it's such a tall task ahead?
Yeah, you know, for me, I wasn't outside the stadium. I was inside the stadium. The fans that we had inside the stadium, I thought they created a nice environment for our guys. It felt different. It didn't feel like just a preseason game out at the front of Dignity Health Sports Park. It felt like it was in the stadium. It felt like there was some intensity. The guys had support. You know, that's what we're focusing on. I'm trying to get a team prepared for a season. We have, you know, high hopes for the group this season as we continue to build the group and move forward. And the guys need the fan support to try to be successful. And I've said it over and over again, everybody at the end of the day wants the team and the club to be successful. That's the ultimate outcome of all of this, and we're trying to prepare a team to help do that so that everyone can be proud of that team and be proud of the club.
Hey, Greg, as you head off to Indio, what are the chances Johnny Perez is back on the field this week?
He is, he's close. I know we were hoping that he would have been back on the field this week, just at least moving and doing some of his return to play stuff back on the field. I think they took a step back just to try to improve some range of motion and compensation issues that they felt like we were having, so that we didn't get into other types of injuries when we're moving forward. So I haven't heard today, but our hope is he'll travel with us, and the hope is that he will at least start to run, move with the ball, do all those things over the course of the next week or so, and then start to integrate back into the team within the next couple of weeks. I know that puts us about a week off of the timeline that I thought we would be at, so hopefully we're close to that.
That's all we have for tonight. Thanks,
Okay.
everyone. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you, everyone.